Namaste. Just imagine your elderly parents or grandparents or sick people climbing 3, 4, 5, 6 floors in an apartment just because the power has failed and your lift is not working. So, for such people, it can be highly risky and uncomfortable. So, what is the solution for such problems in apartments? There are two possible solutions. One is installing a generator, and the second option is to install a UPS system. Now, when it comes to generator, it is a perfect solution for large apartments like 500, 800, 1000, 1500 apartments. The generator is the best solution because in such large apartments, the generator not only supports the lift, it supports all the facilities in that apartment. It could be a swimming pool, it could be gym, it could be a tennis court, and so many such facilities are available. It could be powering all of them. So the generator there is an ideal solution. And also in such apartments, the land area will be very, very big. It could be 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres. So the generator will be placed in a remote corner where the residents have no access at all. So there is no question of sound pollution, air pollution or any other inconvenience to the residents. But when you take a generator for a smaller apartment of say 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 or so, the land area will be quite limited. To find a place for the generator is not going to be that easy. So even if you find a space for the generator, there are many problems associated with the generator for smaller apartments. First is air and sound pollution. So because it's going to be within a small locality, small area where it will be easily accessible to the residents of the building, it is going to cause a lot of inconvenience. To prevent sound pollution, you will have to go for a soundproof cabinet, which is going to increase the cost of it. Second is the air pollution. The diesel or petrol or whatever is the fuel that is being used, the smoke will be sort of circulating within the apartment premises, causing smoke pollution. And another major point is that when somebody is traveling in the lift and if the power goes, now they will be caught in the lift until somebody goes and switches on the generator and the lift starts moving. So until then, it could cause a lot of tension, lot of stress in the person because they will be enclosed in a small area, they will be stuck, and that will cause a lot of tension until the generator is switched on. If you want automatic takeover, now again that's going to cost you more. So it keeps on increasing the cost of the whole system. So in smaller apartments, the ideal solution will be the UPS. In UPS, there are two types of UPS available. One is called the online UPS, where the UPS will take over or there is no takeover time at all. In an online UPS, nobody is going to know that the power has failed. But the problem with online UPS is that your electricity bill will increase by 2,000 to 3,000 or more, depending on the quality of the UPS what you buy, depending on the efficiency of the UPS. There could be a loss of 5%, 8%, 10%. There could be a loss of power in that UPS, which will elevate the electricity bill. So it is not a good idea to go for an online UPS for smaller apartments because everybody will have to shell out more to meet the electricity bill. So the ideal solution for apartments would be a sine wave UPS which is zero changeover. That is, the UPS does not function when there is power. The UPS starts functioning or supporting the lift only when there is a power failure. In which case there will not be any increase in the power bill except that when it is getting charged. When the batteries are getting discharged, they will be getting charged. Only at that point of time there will be a power consumption. Otherwise there will not be any power consumption. The space required for this UPS and batteries will be just a little, maybe about 2x4 or 3x4 or something like that. That's all is the space that will be required. And you can go for batteries which will give you 10 years life. Because the major problem is when you go for cheaper systems, cheaper batteries, the batteries will have to be replaced every 1.5, 2 years or 3 years. And you keep on spending on replacement of batteries. So for smaller apartments where contributions from every apartment is very important, it is better to go for batteries which will give you around 10 years life, or they give 1200 to 1500 cycles. Cycles means you discharge the battery completely and charge the battery completely, that's called one cycle. So there are batteries which will give you 1200 to 1500 cycles, and that means it will give you a life of around 10 years. So there is no repeat expenditure on replacement of batteries, which is the major problem in UPS systems. So if this would be the ideal solution for smaller apartments, and this is absolutely instant, it takes over absolutely immediately, and the passengers who are traveling will not even know that there is a power failure. So this is the ideal solution, and there are many such installations which have been installed in Bangalore over 15 years ago, and those UPS systems are still functioning, and the batteries have been giving an extremely good life, making the system the most economical. So if you want any further information, clarification, and generally one more information I would like to share is that the motor in the lift, see 20 years ago, the outdated lifts which were being used at that point of time, they were consuming very high power, which means they used to be requiring 20 kVA or 30 kVA, and the cost of the UPS would be some 3-4 lakhs. But now in the last few years, there's been so much of upgradation in technology that today most of the lifts or every single lift consumes very little power, because they come along with V3F drive in the motor, which consumes much less power than what was being consumed 20 years ago. So the UPS, instead of 20 kVA, 30 kVA, nowadays you require only 5 or 7.5 or maximum 10 kVA is what is required, which means the cost has reduced dramatically. So if you have say 30 or 40 apartments in a building and you go for a lift to UPS, it would hardly cost you 5 to 8,000, 10,000 per apartment. So the cost is very much reduced now, and this would be the most ideal solution for apartments, because with elders, senior citizens, super senior citizens and sick people, this would be the ideal solution. It gives you the backup literally the whole day, because in an apartment the traffic is much limited. It's not like commercial, so the number of times you go up and down is going to be much limited. So it generally gives almost whole day backup. You can choose the battery of your choice, which will give you a very long backup, and that would be the best and ideal, long-lasting, most economical solution for apartments. If you want any further information, assistance to understand what is the UPS required by your apartment, my contact details are at the end of this video. You can get in touch with me, and I can help you to figure out what UPS is required, and I will suggest the right batteries which can be the most economical for you. So kindly request you to forward this video to your friends, relatives who are staying in such apartments, and definitely every apartment will have senior citizens, super senior citizens, as well as maybe a few health related problems. So this UPS will be absolutely useful to them. So request you to forward it to them so that we can make their life much easier and comfortable. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.